babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe, people subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the proof, don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets, with the people in the slums and the homeless bums, with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death ode? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather, I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double, but nature gets the shit in the way to settle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't, cause the TVs whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Alrighty. Another wonderful day, and I hope everybody's doing well. Actually, it's the night for some people. It's the morning for me, it's the middle of the night for others, it's the midday for other people. I mean, but I hope everybody is doing well. Let me know if the audio is good. And I'm just really the type of person that wishes everybody a wonderful day. Everybody the best life they can have, especially when it comes to your opportunities, to improve yourself, right? And that's not just the opportunities to improve yourself in terms of, the outside, the things you want, but also the inside. Sometimes that's opportunity too, being able to reflect upon self and get self-help. We grow in a world that has already been created before we set foot on this earth. And a lot of that can be violent. A lot of it can be hateful. People experience a lot of trauma. And so whether you're from the richest country on earth, the United States of America, or some of the poorer regions, ironically experience very, very similar things. You would think wealth might change some of that. But no, it doesn't seem to work that way. Money doesn't buy you everything. It could help,
usually a lot of people say, damn, if I had a little bit more money, my bills could get paid a little bit easier. I could have two jobs instead of three, or I could have one job instead of four, right? So for people like that, I get you. But that's not how things go down. There's more detail to the things that can affect your life. One person might make more money than another person's entire family could make in 100 years. One person might make that amount of money in 1 year, right? And so for countries like that, where you have those kind of rich folk, I understand life for other people could be like it is in some of the poorest countries. So shit's not guaranteed, but for those that take any opportunity they can to improve themselves inside, given those facts, and also work together with others in peaceful ways, to better their communities and help their neighbors, help a poor person, help a person that needs help, even if they're not poor. Just look out for each other. For those people that know what life is like, looking out for each other under difficult circumstances, I wish you the best, no matter who you are, no matter where you're from. But especially my people back home in the United States of America, it's goddamn, that's a very rich country. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of rich folk in the United States of America, and they live in really, 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 really well. I mean, they are living spectacularly well. Like, if your rich folk live well in some other country, our rich folk are living 1,000 times better than that. So it just really shocks me how poor people can be. Like, goddamn, goddamn, you know? And of course, a lot of it has something to do with just outright greed, just total, utter greed, gluttonous greed running crazy, you know? Donald Trump is the representation of that greed. I mean, here you have a big fat old man that will just come and pull his pants down and show you his bare ass every morning, no matter what. And then he has his sycophants that just cheer him on and do anything that he wants to do because they're proud of a gluttonous, fat, old, fat ass, that doesn't care about anybody else but himself. I mean, the word gluttony, wow, that really sticks to Donald Trump. But in any case, I wanted to take a chance to review some things. A lot of times people that are poor are put against each other, especially in the richest country on earth, the United States of America. And often it's poor white people against poor black people. And Republican Party, they are masters at doing that. They are masters at turning poor white people against poor black people or poor other people. They are masters at doing that. And it's just like, sometimes I wonder, like, goddamn, like, how'd you get so good at that? You have to be fucking evil to be that good. You have to really be evil. And we're going to put evil on display here today. Not through my voice, but through this platform. We're going to go over some of the evil. And it's damn shameful. I'm a person that grew up in the richest country on earth and one of the richest cities on earth too, Washington, D.C. Folk ain't that, bro. I mean, there used to be a stronger middle class. There's a strong middle class there. We still don't do enough for the generational poverty, but damn, folks is doing a little better than in a lot of other places on earth. And yet, even in that place, you have some really bad, things that Congress takes the blame, by the way, in D.C. D.C. is not self-governing. It has oversight by Congress. And Congress likes to tell people in D.C. what is best. In fact, they don't like to. They do it. They do it all the time. So even in one of the capital cities, one of the richest places on earth, one place with more police than any other place on earth, even before Trump sent military there, these people are to blame for any crime that ever existed in Washington, D.C. There has been homelessness since the Emancipation Proclamation. Do you understand? In Washington, D.C., there has never been a time in D.C.'s history where there was not large amounts of homelessness. Never. You see what I mean? Because it is a capitalistic country. And when you have gluttonous thieves, you have poverty and homelessness. It is just that simple. So everybody give a round of applause to the GOP for being the textbook face of gluttonous thieves. Everybody give them a round of applause. Now, let me see here. I was going through some data. And the data is really shocking. First of all, let's look at who we're talking about. I mean, this is the new face, of course. This is the new face. And they really like putting poor people against each other. They like to put the poor whites against the poor blacks against the poor. I mean, they got the nerve. Some of these people have the nerve to even mention black Americans. Like, motherfucker, you never gave a damn about any black American. Just keep our names out of your fucking mouth, please. Okay, you need to talk about the poor white people you have abandoned first before you ever put an African American's name in your mouth, GOP. But of course, they like to distract from what they really do. And what they are doing is committing basically white genocide. You know what I'm saying? This is the face of white genocide right here in America. I mean, this is what the data says. You can think what you want, but the data says this. The data says this, and it's what a lot of people, the sycophants, want, because they are easily race baited. So as long as you can show them that you're attacking some other minority, you can rob these poor white folks of everything else, and there is nothing that will be done about it. So let's take a glimpse at it. Let's take a little look.
Good question. Let's break
Okay. States with the poorest white Americans. Let's just go over that for the record. Okay. People can feel free to disagree. These are the CDC's own reports. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't agree with that, that's not a surprise, right? I mean, after all, who runs these government agencies? Who runs it? It's the deep state, y'all. The deep state. So beware of what you're about to hear. Close your ears if you're a MAGA head, okay?
Break it into two parts: where white Americans are poorest and what federal programs exist to support them. Number one.
Where white Americans are poorest and what federal programs exist to support them. Okay? Based on the U.S. Census Bureau and the CDC data. The deep state, y'all. Don't trust the data. Don't trust the data. I mean, to the MAGA people, do not trust the data. Do not trust the data. MAGA people, run, 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 run.
One. State.
I work for the deep state. The deep state is paying me, so run.
States with the poorest white Americans. When looking at poorest populations, researchers usually consider median household income, poverty rates, and sometimes life expectancy. For white, non-Hispanic Americans, the poorest states tend to be in Appalachia, the South, and parts of the rural West. Based on U.S. Census Bureau and CDC data, Kentucky, West Virginia, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama.
Who? The U.S. Census Bureau and the CDC, okay? AKA to MAGA folk, the deep state.
Alabama and Louisiana have some of the lowest median incomes among white households. Appalachia, especially east.
Anybody ever been to Appalachia, as we call it in DC? I call it Appalachia. But anybody ever been there? If you ever been to Appalachia, put a 1 in the chat. If you've ever been to Appalachia, because I want to know who I'm talking to, right? I mean, I've been there. Appalachia is not that far from DC. All you got to do is get in a car and take a little drive. You got a couple hours and you're there. You can start in the mountains. Just get outside far enough west and you will hit it first. You will hit it. This is J.D. Vance country.
In Kentucky and West Virginia, white poverty is especially concentrated here due to loss of coal mining jobs and limited new industries. Ozarks region, Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, persistent rural poverty among whites. South Dakota and Montana.
Uh-oh. Did somebody say persistent? 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 Okay, that's not just here and there. That is like, damn, you guys really like poverty.
Montana. While Native Americans have the highest poverty rates, rural white poverty is also significant. So the stereotypical poor white demographic is most visible in Appalachia, parts of the Deep South, and some rural western states. Number 2, what the federal government does to aid poor white Americans.
Okay, federal government. Now, everybody that has a job that pays federal payroll taxes, which is pretty much everybody in the United States of America. What state do you not pay federal payroll taxes? Most of them do, if not all, right? So all of your tax dollars would go into aiding these people if you know how the tax dollars are distributed. See, people that pay in the most into federal tax dollars don't always get the most back. A lot of times that money goes to other places that pay in less, that are more in need of federal programs for the poor. Just in case you don't know.
The U.S. government does not target aid by race. Assistance programs are income-based or region-based. Poor white Americans benefit from many of the same programs as other low-income groups.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Poor white Americans benefit from some of the other programs of the other major groups? Oh, wow. So you mean if you cut aid and federal funding to the other groups, you're cutting it for these people also? Wow. Guess who didn't know that? Fucking MAGA voters didn't, apparently, by a large number. But yes, it is the truth, unless you think I work for the deep state.
Major federal safety net programs. SNAP, food stamps, helps low-income families buy groceries. Medicaid, health coverage for low-income adults and children, expanded in many states under the ACA. SSI and SSDI, disability benefits, important in areas with high rates of disability, e.g. Appalachia. TANF, temporary assistance for needy families, cash aid, though limited. EITC and child tax credit, refundable tax credits for working families. Regional development programs. Some federal programs specifically target poor regions that are disproportionately white. Appalachian Regional Commission, ARC, funds job training, infrastructure, and economic development in Appalachia. Delta Regional Authority, DRA, serves the Mississippi Delta region, mixed racial demographics, but includes poor white communities in Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky. Rural Development, USDA, loans and grants for housing, utilities, and businesses in rural areas.
Damn, I didn't know all that federal money went to these people. I had no clue. I mean, I did actually, I'm being sarcastic. But in terms of, if I'm going to play the ignorant role, damn, I had no clue. All these people get federal tax dollars for these programs. You would think they're talking about black folk. If you ask if you ask MAGA, you would think they're talking about black folk and Hispanic. When you find out what percentage of the U.S. population is white and receives this, you are going to be astounded. You're going to wonder how the hell can the GOP get away with this? You're just going to fucking wonder. By the way, I think everybody in the richest country on earth should get support who is poor, because poverty hurts everyone. Poverty hurts the middle class who's not in poverty. We pay for it. Okay, so we pay for everybody that doesn't have access to schools. We pay for everyone that doesn't have access to childcare, because what happens? Uneducated people that are desperate for money turn to crime. So the middle class pays for that. You see what I mean? So a person like myself would much rather spend the money just by giving them childcare, by giving them better access to education. That's what I would be thinking as a liberal. But no, that's not what the people who voted for Trump think. See, in their world, I'm the dumbass motherfucker. And they're the clever ones. But let's listen.
Areas. Other support. Opioid crisis funding. Disproportionately affects poor white communities in Appalachia and the Midwest. Rural health service programs, clinics and telehealth for underserved areas. In short, the poorest white Americans are concentrated in Appalachia, parts of the Deep South, and
Laura, that comprehensive list is coming, trust me.
some rural western states. They are supported primarily through income-based federal programs, SNAP, Medicaid, SSI tax credits, and regional initiatives. Appalachian Regional Commission, USDA Rural Aid.
Let's continue.
Here's the most up-to-date picture of where white Americans face the highest poverty, followed by how the federal government supports them. Najashar 1.
We just warm it up just to make sure, in case people didn't understand the first one and think it's a hoax and a conspiracy. Now you get to hear it recited in a different way with some slight other qualifications before we go on to the next data group. Check this out.
1. States where white poverty is highest. According to 2025 data from World Population Review, the states with the highest white poverty rates are West Virginia, approximately 17%, New Mexico, about 16.7%, Kentucky, around 16%, Arkansas,
And keep this in mind. These are this is American data, U.S. American data. So when they say 16% for Kentucky, and when they say poor, what they consider poor is a little worse than what every other Western country considers poor. So just keep that in mind when you read this,
approximately
when you hear
14%. Texas, roughly 13.7% World Population Review. Meanwhile, the national average white poverty rate is about 8%, and Hawaii has the lowest at roughly 2.3% World Population Review. 2. Regional and comparative context. In Appalachia, which includes much of West Virginia and eastern Kentucky, poverty rates overall hover around 14.3%, compared to a national median household income of roughly $78,538 versus Appalachia's $64,588, Appalachian Regional Commission. Nationwide, white non-Hispanic households had a median income of $89,050 in 2023. The Wall Street Journal, states like Mississippi and Louisiana rank among the poorest overall on broader poverty metrics. But for white poverty specifically, West Virginia and New Mexico are notably the highest. Tamashtagar 3. What the federal government does to aid poor white Americans. While federal programs are not race-specific, income and region-based aid helps poor white Americans, especially those in high-poverty states, through #A nationwide income-based safety net programs. SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, helps low-income households afford food. Medicaid offers health.
This is before Trump comes into office, mind you. All right, the data changes. This is what they got when Biden was in office. Okay.
Health coverage for low-income individuals and families. TANF Temporary Assistance for Needy Families provides limited cash support. SSI and SSDI supports Americans with disabilities. Earned Income Tax Credit, EITC, and Child Tax Credit reduce tax burdens and provide refundable benefits to low and moderate income working families. An expanded child tax credit during the pandemic notably reduced child poverty, particularly in high-need regions. B. Regional Economic Development Initiatives. Appalachian Regional Commission, RC, directs investments in infrastructure, job training, and economic development across distressed Appalachian counties, including West Virginia and Kentucky. Appalachian Regional Commission, Delta Regional Authority, DRA, focuses on poverty-stricken areas of the Mississippi Delta, including parts of Arkansas. USDA Rural Development offers grants and loans to support
This is a lot of programs.
housing, infrastructure, and businesses in rural communities. Opioid crisis and rural health funding specifically targets rural regions heavily affected by health crises, which disproportionately impact poor white populations. Neshad at-a-glance summary, issue data, worst states for white poverty. 5. West Virginia, 17%, New Mexico, 27%, Kentucky, 16%, Arkansas, 14%, Texas, 13.7%, national average for white Washington, 8%. Median income, white non-Hispanic households, $89,050. Federal support mechanisms, SNAP, Medicaid, EITC, Child Tax Credit, TANF, SSI, SSDI, ARC, DRA, USDA Rural Development. The Trump administration has significantly reduced or eliminated numerous federal programs, particularly those supporting low and moderate income Americans. Reason overview of major cuts.
Now, before you heard the programs that existed before, these are the programs that are cut by the big, beautiful bill. Okay, all that shit you heard before that the Biden administration thought, hey, these poor white people should get, man. They're entitled to this. Hey, man, we're all in this together. Hey, man, let's hold each other up. Let's keep everybody afloat. This is America, man. Come on. This is America. There's not two Americas. There's one America. There's not a blue or red America. There's one America. Well, somebody said, no, fuck you, Biden.
Housing and Homelessness, Home Investment Partnerships Program, PRO. Proposed elimination of this program, which has supported the construction or repair of over 1.3 million homes, many in rural areas. AP News, a proposed 44% reduction. A proposed 44% reduction in funding for the Department of Housing and Urban Development's Affordable Housing, Homelessness, and Community Development Programs. National Low-Income Housing.
When you hear what percentage of the overall population is white American that is affected by this, you will hear it in the end. You're going to be astonished because it's not a small percent at all.
Housing Coalition to Rental Assistance Program. A $26.7 billion cut to rental assistance programs, including Section 8, reducing current funding levels by 43%. California Housing Partnership on cut to California's SNAP program, removing exemptions. A $1.25 billion cut to California's SNAP program, removing exemptions for vulnerable groups and limiting many to just 3 months of benefits every 3 years. San Francisco Chronicle program that provides nutritious food to seniors, with a $425 million cut, eliminating this program that provides nutritious food to seniors with low incomes.
Yeah, somebody in the chat thinks providing nutritional food to seniors is communism. Okay, buddy, okay.
Food Research and Action Center, NUGNG Health Insurance, disproportionately deep cuts to Medicaid funding, resulting in around 10 million people losing health insurance, disproportionately affecting rural communities. AP News FSET deep cuts to Medicaid and prevent RURA, introduction of a new $10 billion annual program, which experts argue is insufficient to offset deep cuts to Medicaid.
Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. Keep in mind, this is what you voted for. You voted for this. If you have the nerve to support and voted for Trump, yet you want disabled people and elderly to get assistance, you fucking didn't vote for them to get assistance. You voted for them to not get assistance. And that's what you're hearing right here.
RURA, introduction of a new $10 billion annual program, which experts argue is insufficient to offset deep cuts to Medicaid and prevent rural hospital closures. AP News bilates to other federal agencies. Trio and Gear. A significant workforce reduction, eliminating nearly half of its employees and transferring responsibilities to other federal agencies. Wikipedia T. Reducing the federal contribute. Elimination of these programs that support first-generation and low-income college students. Oklahoma Museums Association. Mass layoffs across federal agents. A $980 million cut, reducing the federal contribution to a student's hourly wage to 25%. TICAs.org. Public Broadcasting. Executive Order 14290 directs the corporation mass layoffs across federal agencies, including the
public broadcasting. So, if you're in a poor part of the country, a part of the country where there's a lot of homelessness and a lot of poverty, like Appalachia, when you cut public broadcasting, you cut the ability to show people what exists, what people in Appalachia look like. You're actually cutting off their voice to the rest of the world. And now you're leaving it up only to politicians and private institutions to do it. You see? So don't think that this is just Sesame Street, a place where they want everybody to get along. No, you're literally cutting off just Appalachia from having a voice. Yeah, you are. That's what you did.
The Department of Education and USAID, leading to significant reductions in services and oversight. Wikipedia abusion and significant downs. Executive Order 14290 directs the Corporation for Public Broadcasting to cease all funding for NPR and PBS, alleging biased news coverage. Wikipedia raised hardship for vulnerable populate, near total freeze on foreign aid distribution, and significant downsizing of the United States Agency for International Development, reducing its workforce from over...
People forgot that these were American jobs. Look at this. Reducing American jobs from 10,000 to 300. Well, okay, maybe somebody could have got a job. Maybe some American person could have got a job. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe not. We don't know. Let's find out. Let's see how the midterm elections go. Let's see how many found
over
out.
10,000 to approximately 3.
Now, let's take a look at who voted for these budget cuts. The effect, look at this. Just look at this. We're talking about poor white Americans here. This is the question being asked. Look who affected it.
Several Republican members of Congress have publicly supported the Trump administration's budget cuts that impact low-income programs, including Medicaid, SNAP, food assistance, and affordable housing initiatives. Up low is an overview of key figures and their positions. Senators supporting budget cuts. Senator Rand Paul, op.
So listen, poor white Americans that hear this, and other people that understand what poverty is like in America. Yeah, you too. Everybody's welcome. If you are experiencing poverty and you have a vote, you should be aware of who these people are.
Opposed the Senate's budget resolution, citing concerns over increased national debt. Wikipedia RNC initially opposed the one big beautiful bill due to Medicaid cuts, but ultimately voted in favor after receiving assurances from House leadership. Wikipedia critic of federal healthcare programs. A longtime critic of federal healthcare programs, Lankford has supported budget measures that include significant cuts to Medicaid. Wikipedia I. Hinson, RIA, promoted the One Big Beautiful Bill, highlighting tax cuts and immigration enforcement, despite local concerns over cuts to Medicaid and SNAP. The Washington Post defended the GOP's overhaul of SNAP. As chair of the House Agriculture Committee, Thompson has defended the GOP's overhaul of SNAP, criticizing state-level administration issues while supporting federal cuts. Politico reversal GOP policies. Rep. Faced backlash from constituents over support for Medicaid cuts and other controversial GOP policies. The Daily Beast in Arizona. Repshare David Vaugh voted for the One Big Beautiful Bill, which includes cuts to Medicaid affecting hundreds of
That's Andy Biggs, Representative Andy Biggs from Arizona.
thousands in Arizona. Wikipedia from Leadership. Initially opposed the budget resolution due to Medicaid concerns.
David Valadao, California, Republican.
But ultimately voted in favor after receiving reassurances from leadership. Wikipedia Caucus. The House Freedom Caucus, the only Republican to vote against the House budget resolution, citing fiscal conservatism and concerns over...
Yeah, that's Thomas Macy, Republican from Kentucky, the only Republican to vote against the House budget resolution, citing fiscal conservatism and concerns over spending. Okay.
For spending. Wikipedia AP. These lawmakers have BPO. The House Freedom Caucus, once known for opposing large spending bills, has largely aligned with Trump's agenda, supporting measures that include cuts to Medicaid and SNAP. The Wall Street Journal, Editat Alakis.
Right. So now, check this out. Now we're going to get closer to the percentages, what this group represents in overall benefits. Right? Who is getting, what percentage of the population is getting these benefits? A lot of times they try to divert how many white Americans actually benefit from these programs, as if they behave and pretend and speak about it as if there's not any significant numbers of white people that experience poverty in the U.S. I mean, that's literally what the GOP does. They do that. And so when it comes time to voting, people vote on stuff that's literally against their own best interests. And I got to tell you, 30% of the overall people that benefit from these programs, that's like 1/3 of the population of the poor. 1/3 of the poor is represented by this group in the United States of America. That's not a majority, but that's basically an equal, that's an equal share. That's a big group. Listen, watch.
Several Republican members of Congress have publicly supported the Trump administration's budget cuts that impact low-income programs, including Medicaid, SNAP, food assistance, and affordable housing initiatives. Below is an overview of key figures and their...
All right, so look, so let's go to the next demographic here. Let me see here. Where's the data? Come on. Did I do this? Boom. Let's pull that down. Okay, here we go. Next group.
Several Republican members of Congress have publicly supported the Trump administration's budget cuts that impact low-income programs, including Medicaid, SNAP, food assistance, and affordable housing initiatives. Below is an overview of key figures and their positions. Senators supporting budget cuts. Senator Rand Paul, opposed the Senate's budget resolution, citing concerns over increased national debt. Wikipedia RNC initially opposed the One Big Beautiful Bill due to Medicaid cuts, but ultimately voted in favor after receiving assurances from House leadership. Wikipedia critic of federal healthcare programs. A longtime critic of federal healthcare programs, Lankford has supported budget measures that include significant cuts to Medicaid. Wikipedia I. Hinson, RIA, promoted the One Big Beautiful Bill, highlighting tax cuts and immigration enforcement, despite local concerns over cuts to Medicaid and SNAP. The Washington Post defended the GOP's overhaul of SNAP. As chair of the House Agriculture Committee, Thompson has defended the GOP's overhaul of SNAP, criticizing state-level administration issues while supporting federal cuts.
I know we heard this again. Don't worry, it's going to flip. I put the one into the same grouping, so it's going to flip over. I'm sorry.
Politico Roversial
GOP. But listen, it's worth hearing this. It's worth hearing this a few different times, because the reality of it is that people don't hear enough. What American citizens need to know right now is who cut their money that they paid, American citizens pay out of their pocket, who cut the benefits that come from that. Remember, you're only talking about federal dollars taken from payroll taxes. That means people that work, right, and pay taxes. That money comes out of their check from every hour that they work any type of job, right, that's registered on the books, right? Now, they pay this money out front. What happened is that now they're going to get way less benefits, while the wealthiest people in the country get way more tax cuts than they've ever gotten, more than they got under Biden, more than they got under the last Trump administration, just more. And so you got to ask yourself, who is it hurting? Now, a lot of times, because I really like how the GOP rolled out their plan. As a matter of fact, I mean, you have to give them credit. They know their base. So they know that the base will be triggered by code words like illegal immigration. You know, they would be triggered by that. They would be triggered by the concept that illegal immigrants are getting these benefits, which is a damn lie, because they don't even have the right to them, and they pay into the shit anyway, you know, which is crazy. But this was what the GOP said. On average, this is what they said. Even though it's the opposite. If you know how the system works, you know that an illegal immigrant, a person that is undocumented, if they're taking up a job that is on paper, they are using someone else's social security number, meaning that they don't actually get the resources from it back. You see, when it comes time to check into a hospital, they don't have an ID. It's just a form of fraud that they use for an employer, that an employer uses for them. They don't actually get that shit back. You see what I mean? And that is the fraud that the GOP committed. But in any case, let's hear this out.
Policies. Rep. Faced backlash from constituents over support for Medicaid cuts and other controversial GOP policies. The Daily Beast in Arizona. Rep. David Vaugh voted for the One Big Beautiful Bill, which includes cuts to Medicaid affecting hundreds of thousands in Arizona. Wikipedia from Leadership.
75% of the federal budget is paid through payroll taxes. If you have a job and you pay payroll taxes, you are not among the wealthiest people in the country. Just very simple to understand.
Initially opposed the budget resolution due to Medicaid concerns, but ultimately voted in favor after receiving reassurances from leadership. Wikipedia Caucus. The House Freedom Caucus, the only Republican to vote against the House budget resolution, citing fiscal conservatism and concerns over spending. Wikipedia AP. These lawmakers have BPO. The House Freedom Caucus, once known for opposing large spending bills, has largely aligned with Trump's agenda, supporting measures that include cuts to Medicaid and SNAP. The Wall Street Journal, Editat Alakis. The One Big Beautiful Bill, OBBB, officially known as H.R. 1, was a significant piece of legislation passed during the 119th Congress. It was approved by the House of Representatives on May 22, 2025, with a vote of 215 in favor, 214 against, and 1 present. The bill was then passed by the Senate.
Now, here we go. We're going to get to the percentage of the population affected by this, right? Of the percentage of the white population, actually, which is very interesting because you can't really know what's going on if you don't do the yin and the yang, if you don't look at the micro and the macro, if you don't look at the left and the right, you have nothing to compare it to. You see, a lot of times we look at these benefits as being something about racial minorities or Hispanics or blacks or something like that. And rarely do people talk about the flip side of the coin, the other people that receive these benefits. And of course, if you are pro cutting these benefits, then you might want to know who's affected regardless of who they are. But the GOP doesn't want folks to know.
On July 1st, 2025, with a vote of 51 in favor and 50 against, with Vice President J.D. Vance casting the tie-breaking vote, Congress.gov, May 22, 2025, was closely contested memo. The House vote on May 22, 2025, was closely contested, reflecting significant divisions within the Republican Party. While the final vote count was 215 to 214, with 1 member voting present, the specific names of the members who voted in favor are not readily available in the provided sources. For a detailed breakdown,
basically all the Republicans voted for it. It's that simple. All of the Republicans voted for it. Maybe one didn't. And it's like this. It's very one-sided. The Republicans supported this big bill. Democrats, on large, didn't support it at all. In fact, they didn't even get, I don't even believe they got 1 vote from Democrats. I mean, it's that split, you know, as you could see, 215 to 214. You see?
Down of how each House member voted, you can refer to the official House Roll Call Vote 145 clerk, house.gov.
See, here it is, 51 to 50. It only takes 1 to cut all these white Americans' benefits. It only took 1 extra vote. Guess who that vote was?
The Washington Post, D. Vance Castanbranche. In the Senate, the bill passed with a narrow margin of 51 to 50, with Vice President J.D. Vance casting the decisive tie-breaking vote.
So J.D. Vance is about to become your president. And he's the one who cast the decision-deciding vote, the last vote. Without his vote as the senator, this bill wouldn't have even been possible. Your suffering would not actually have taken place. What would have been ongoing was what Biden had already allocated, which was way more comprehensive support for the poor and the middle class. That got stopped literally by J.D. Vance. And he, because Trump is sick, is about to be, soon as Trump gets finished, soon as he gives the pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell, he's hoping that there's some other way to do it, but it won't be. It won't be. There's no real legal precedent to let her off, right? The Supreme Court doesn't want that on their neck either. You see what I mean? These kind of things. But the pardon can definitely get her off no matter who's involved, no matter what. So that's what's going to happen. He's about to give Maxwell this pardon. And when he does, the man who made this vote, who literally cut your benefits, cut your lifeline, is going to take office. And that man is actually J.D. Vance. He's more responsible for this than Trump. Really? Because without his vote, Trump wouldn't have shit to sign.
The specific senators who voted in favor of the bill are not explicitly listed in the provided sources, D, with one member voting present, A, by the Senate on July 1st, 2025, with a vote of 51 in favor and 50 against, with Vice President J.D. Vance casting the tie-breaking vote. Congress.gov, May 22nd, 2025, was closely contested. The House vote on May 22nd, 2025, was closely contested, reflecting significant divisions within the Republican Party. While the final vote count was 215 to 214, with one member voting present, A, the specific names of the members who voted in favor are not readily available in the provided sources. For a detailed breakdown of how each House member voted, you can refer to the official House Roll Call Vote 145 clerk, house.gov. The Washington Post, D. Vance Castanbridge. In the Senate, the bill passed with a narrow margin of 51 to 50, with Vice President J.D. Vance casting the decisive tie-breaking vote. The specific senators who voted in favor of the bill are not explicitly listed in the provided sources. However, it is noted that only 3 Republican senators, Susan Collins, Rand Paul, and Thom Tillis, voted against the bill then. This implies that the remaining senators, including those from the Republican Party, voted in favor. For a comprehensive list of how each senator voted, you can consult the official Senate Roll Call Vote 363 U.S. Senate Time D, that information.
Although you don't really need to, because it was 51 it was 51 Republicans to 50 Democrats against. I mean, it's simple, but let's go on.
Here's a list of key agency heads confirmed by the U.S. Senate during President Donald Trump's second term, along with the final confirmation vote tallies and the Republican senators who supported each nominee. Notably, all nominees received strong Republican backing, with some confirmations passing along party line.
Right. So now we're looking at who supported the appointees that are doing this shit, like, right now, that are actively out there looking over this disaster, right? I mean, because election time is coming. If all out civil war doesn't happen, an election will happen. It's very simple. One or the other, the ballot or the bullet. The ballot or the bullet, right? So, got to be prepared for both. You got to know how to walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. So, I advise people to slowly and calmly register to have a weapon in democratic states, while you slowly and calmly communicate the same way with your community members and others, not just your only community members. Communicate with red states about who voted for these people, to make sure at least they get some better representation, no matter who they vote for. You see what I mean? Because this is the worst representation in the history of the United States of America right now.
Confirmed agency heads and supporting Republican senators. 1. Brooke Rollins, Secretary of Agriculture. Confirmation vote 72 to 28, 7228, February 13, 2025, Ooblekin. Supporters all 40. All 40 Republican senators voted in favor. U.S. Senate Attorney General confirmation vote 54 to 46, February 2025. 54 to 46, February 4th, 2025. 40 Republican senators vote. All 40 Republican senators voted in favor. Ballotpedia confirmation vote 51 to 45, February 18th, 2025. Republican supporters 51 to 45, February 18th.
So you're looking at who voted for the people who are concealing the Epstein files. This is who voted for them.
2025 voted in favor. #4. All 40 Republican senators voted in favor. Ballotpedia 50. January 24th, 2025. Republican supporters, all 40 Republican Senate 51 to 50. January 24th, 2025. President J.D. Vance cast the tie. All 40 Republican senators voted in favor. Vice President J.D. Vance cast the tie-breaking vote. U.S. Senate Republican supporters, all 40 Republican senators voted in favor. 6. 51 to 45. March 3rd, 2025, Secretary of Energy, confirm it. All 40 Republican senators voted in favor. All 40 Republican senators voted in favor.
I mean, It's not just the Epstein files, of course. This is your life. All aspects of your life. These are the people who voted for it. It's Republicans 100% backed what you are experiencing right now. So if you are unhappy about something, doesn't matter if it's the Epstein files being concealed, because that's concealing pedophiles and child trafficking and also espionage, right? But it could also be who actually voted for this, who voted for this Medicaid cut, who voted for the SNAP cuts for white Americans, for poor white Americans, who did that to them, who who voted for a president that withholds federal dollars in these poor white states where they experience natural disasters? Who did that is what we're looking at. We're actually looking at it's these people.
7. Robert F. Kennedy, 59 to 38, February 3rd, 2025, and Human Services, Comfy. All 40 Republican senators voted in favor. U.S. Senate S, all 40 Republican senators voted in favor. This nomination faced significant opposition from Dem 52 to 48. February 13th, 2025, Roversial views on vaccines. All 40 Republican senators voted in favor. This nomination faced significant opposition from Democrats due to Kennedy's controversial views on vaccines. The Wall Street Journal R. 9. Scott Turner, Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Conf 59 to 34, January 25th, 2025. February 5, 2025. Republican, all 40 Republican senators voted in favor, 0. Doug Burgum, Secretary of the Interior, confirmation vote 80 to 17, January 30th, 2025. 55 to 44, February 5th, 2025. All 40 Republican senators. All 40 Republican senators voted in favor. Ballotpedia Labor, confirmation vote 67 to 32, March 10th, 2025. Republican supporter 80 to 17. January 30th, 2025, Tories voted in favor. 1. All 40 Republican senators voted in favor. Ballotpedia 90, January 20th, 2025. Republican supporters, all 40 Republican senators v. 67 to 32, March 10th, 2025. Sean Duffy, Secretary of all 40 Republican senators voted in favor. Republican supporters, all 40 Republican senators voted in favor. 99 to 0, January 20th, 2025. Snot, Secretary of the Trust. All 40 Republican senators voted in favor.
Who is tired of hearing all 40 Republican senators voted for it? But it's true. All did. And see, of course, some Democrats voted for it too. But the problem is that without all 40 Republican senators voting and every single goddamn time for every screw up that got appointed, you can't have these people. But you also can't have a functioning government if no one is appointed at all either. You see, and actually, I'm starting to think it would have been better off if nobody was appointed. To be honest with you, like working with these Republicans does not work. Their leadership is poor American leadership. Their leadership is poor white American leadership. I mean, when I read this, I got to be honest with you. I could understand an evil, racist black man supporting MAGA. I could understand that. I could understand an evil, racist black man supporting Trump, one who hates poor white people. See, you have to hate poor white people in America to have supported any of this shit. Like, literally, you can't get worse. I mean, seriously. There's some old, angry, racist black man somewhere who's clapping his fucking hands. Like, seriously, which is bizarre. Let alone if he was an old, angry black man who's a pedophile. He would be clapping his fucking hands right now. Because this is who these people appointed. It's insane. It is insane. You know? I mean, but hey, of course, we're going to hear some bullshit talkers come on after this. After we review this, then we're going to hear their words to qualify all this shit. Let's
Senate
listen to
and
them.
Supporters. All 40 Republican senators voted in favor. 15. Lee Zeld 77 to 22, January 28th, 2025. Environmental Protection Age, all 40 Republican senators voted in favor. Ballotpedia and supporters, all 40 Republican senators voted in favor. 16. Kelly Lowe 68 to 29, January 27, 2025. The Small Business Administrator, all 40 Republicans voted in favor. Ballotpedia Leakin supporters, all 40 Republican senators voted in favor. 17. Kash Patel, director of the 5642, January 29th, 2025, Gation. Confirmation. All 40 Republican senators voted in favor. Ballotpedia, Republican senators voted in favor. For a comprehensive list of all confirmed nominees and detailed
See, I'm sorry, but as far as a political party, as far as a governing political party, I see why Democrats really could sit back and let these Republicans do it to themselves. Because the reality is that you will never in the history of the United States hear this ever again. All 40 Republican senators voted for. All 40 Republican senators voted for Kash Patel. All 40 Republican senators voted for Kash Patel, the person who's covering up the Epstein files. All 40 Republican senators voted for Pam Bondi, who's covering up the Epstein files. All 40 Republican senators to the Medicaid, to cut Medicaid. All 40 Republican. I mean, seriously, I'm serious. You're hearing it for yourself. All. Don't you dare blame one goddamn problem on anybody else because you voted for these people. You MAGA people did this. You hate your goddamn selves. Like, the MAGA party is the white extermination party. The party who will exterminate poor white people. Americans. Like, flat out. You couldn't, a racist, angry, old racist, black man who's a pedophile couldn't have done better. Problem is that it wasn't one. It's these dudes. It's them. It's them.
To 46, February 18th, 2020. As of September 2025, the U.S. Senate has confirmed several key agency appointees nominated by President Donald Trump. Reads an overview of some notable confirmations. Tash confirmed agency appointees. Brooke Rollins, Secretary of Agriculture, confirmed 70.
No president in the history of the United States of America has attacked these people. It doesn't even matter what president you're talking about. There just isn't one. There just isn't one that has attacked poor white people like this. Like, straight up, not white Americans. I'm serious.
72 to 28 on February 13, 2025. Wikipedia Secretary of Education, Secretary of Education, confirmed 51 to 45 on March 3, 2025. Wikipedia IRS, confirmed 7723. Secretary of Veterans Affairs, confirmed 77 to 23 on February 4, 2025. Wikipedia, January 25, 2025. Secretary of Homeland Security, confirmed 59 to 34 on January 25, 2025. Wikipedia Brewery 6th, 2025.
See, you see that? See, this is now you're back at the Congress. You see, it's the Republicans here. Their majority wins here, even in Congress. Look, let's listen to it.
5. See Director of the Office of Management and Budget.
It doesn't matter what house you're talking about. These are all Republican appointees. Period. Across the board. All of it. All of it.
53 to 47 on February 6, 2025. Wikipedia, Bill Polt. Director General Counsel of the Environmental Protection Agency. Confirmed 51 to 46 on May 15, 2025. Wikipedia. National Intelligence Director of the Federal Housing Finance Agency. Confirmed 56 to 43 on March 13, 2025. Wikipedia, Uary 25, 2025. With Vice Director of National Intelligence, confirmed 74 to 25 on January 23, 2025. GovCIO Media and Research Vice of Science T Secretary of Defense, confirmed 51 to 50 on January 25, 2025, with Vice President J.D. Vance casting the tie-breaking vote. GovCIO Media and Research of Trump's nominees. Director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy, confirmed 74 to 25 on March 25, 2025. GovCIO Media and Research, Tammy Duckworth, Mazie Hirono. 40 Republican senators voted in favor of all of Trump's nominees. CBS News D. 8 Republican senators supported all nominees when present. CBS News Civ. Democratic senators were more divided, with Tammy Duckworth, Mazie Hirono, Ed Markey, Chris Murphy, Patty Murray, Jack Reed, Chris Van Hollen, and Elizabeth Warren each casting 19 votes against Trump's nominees. Ballotpedia by NE sent its official nominations page. Ballotpedia. Here's a list of key agency heads confirmed by the U.S. Senate during President Donald Trump. Several Republican members of Congress have publicly supported the Trump administration's budget cuts that impact low-income programs, including Medicaid, SNAP, food assistance, and affordable housing.
Short answer, based on what's in the 2025 One Big Beautiful Bill, the budget reconciliation law Trump backed, the clearest countable harm is from the new national Medicaid work requirement and related cutbacks. The Congressional Budget Office-based syntheses estimate about 5.2 million people would lose Medicaid coverage under the work requirement provision. Other modeling puts it 5.5 to 6.3 million. Because about 39.6% of Medicaid enrollees are non-Hispanic white.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that? There's a percentage there because about 39.6 of Medicaid enrollees are non-Hispanic white people. You hear that? This is how many people of those people, those white people, will be affected by Trump. I told you this is white genocide, masked as white supremacy. Like, seriously, this is, in a way, this is kind of like racist people, or I won't say racist, I would say bigoted people, and also people easily misled by poor representation. These people were conned into voting for something that is out to exterminate them specifically. And they don't even realize it because they were able to give them the caveats that they were going to go hunt down immigrants. That's really what this is about.
A straight conservative calculation implies roughly 2.1 million white Americans would lose Medicaid, and 2.2 to 2.5 million if the higher loss estimates hold. Center on budget and policy priorities. SNAP, food stamps, changes in the same package, raising the work requirement age to 64, restricting state waivers and other trims, don't yet have a single settled headcount of people cut, but they are designed to reduce caseload and benefits materially over the decade. Since 35 to 37% of SNAP participants are white, whichever final number of people are pushed off SNAP, roughly 1/3 will be white. Think of the Medicaid figure above as a...
Hello? Roughly 1/3 will be white Americans. 1/3. 1/3. Yes, let's say it again. 1/3. That's a big ass percentage of white folk. I'm just saying, white Americans. That is huge. Now, had this been a black man or anybody else, maybe a white woman too, they might blame it on a white woman and shit. Who knows? But I doubt a white woman would do this, to be honest with you. I mean, there are some. You could find a Kristi Noem, maybe. Maybe there's a case for that. But, she wouldn't be elected, hopefully. But damn. But these people were elected. Listen, y'all. These are elected officials. People voted for this. These people voted for 35 to 37% of their own group to be fucking cut. I mean, where do the other people fit in here? Where do the other folks fit in? If you got 35 to 37% white Americans getting cut, being affected by these cuts, where's everybody else? Hispanics, okay? You got Hispanics in there, okay? Now then you have black people, okay? Then you have Asians, okay? Okay, so I mean, no matter how you cut it, this is a huge number. Don't focus on the percentage of black people yet. Don't focus on that yet. Don't go to the easy caveat of, yeah, well, more percentage of the black population, even though they're smaller, more of them are okay, yeah. We hear that all the time. Fine, but they didn't get their vote. Those people didn't get who they voted for. But you got who you voted for, MAGA. This is who you fucking voted for. This is what you voted for. Do not say you didn't vote for it, because you voted for the person that did it. Whether that person told you the truth or not doesn't even matter anymore. You supported that person. You trusted that person with your goddamn life. And you trusted these representatives with $1 out of your pocket every single day. You get your ass up every single second. You get your ass up and do any job for anybody. Some of that taxes goes out. You trusted them with your life, and this is what you get in return for it.
A flaw. SNAP reductions will add to the total number of white Americans negatively affected. Reuters about each Republican state. If by Republican state, you mean states with a Republican trifecta, GOP governor plus both legislative chambers, there are 23 such states in 2025. The share of the total state population that's white and at risk from the Medicaid work rule is roughly, open quote, people on Medicaid as percent of the state's population, Hagg's white share of that state's Medicaid enrollees. Close quote.
I'll cut it short. It's 11 to 34% in those states, in those Republican states. So it doesn't matter if you look at it across the country. If you just say add all the percentage of the people across the country, that's in the 30% of white people that get these benefits. 30+%. Even if you cut the rest of the country out and you just look at the red states, it's between 11 and 30.
Those two inputs vary a lot by state. Medicaid coverage ranges from roughly 11% to 34% of residents. The white share of enrollees differs by state. KFF publishes both pieces. You'd need to give precise percentage for every GOP trifecta state. If you want, I can generate a full state-by-state table using those sources and the formula above. Multi-state, receipts and key sources. What's in the bill? Medicaid work requirement, health provisions trackers, KFF issue briefs and trackers updated July-August 2025. KFF, coverage losses expected from a national Medicaid work requirement, CBPP roundup citing CBO and other models. Center on budget and policy priorities, who's on Medicaid.
So if you're sick and can't work, you can't get Medicare. That's basically what they're saying. What sense does that make? What sense does that make? If you're sick and you can't work, what the hell? So if you're too sick to work, you can't get, oh my God. Okay.
By race, national share that's white, 39.6%.
National share that is white, 39%. That is a huge goddamn percentage. That's a huge number. I'm not bullshitting you. MAGA equals white American genocide. Like, straight up. This is what they did. It doesn't matter if your dumbass voted for it or not. This is what they did. You best recognize it. They did this to you. Biden didn't do it to you. Kamala Harris didn't do it to you. Obama didn't do it to you. Goddamn Reagan didn't do it to you. Goddamn Bush didn't do it to you. Clinton didn't do it to you. This is unprecedented. Like I said before, if there was an evil black man somewhere, diabolical evil black man that also supported pedophilia, he couldn't do better than this. I'm just telling you flat out.
Pew Research summary of CMS KFF data. Pew Research Center.
And I add the pedophile shit because it's the same people hiding the Epstein files. Literally.
SNAP changes and intent to cut cost caseloads. The age raised to 64 and tighter waivers. Reuters coverage of the House package aligned with the bill. CBPP analyses. Reuters, who's on SNAP by race, white 35 to 37% of participants, USDA characteristics report FY 2023, and FRAC CBPP summaries. Food and Nutrition Service, map count of Republican trifecta states in 2025, multi-state and 270 to win. Multi-state if you'd like. I can now produce a spreadsheet that lists, for every GOP trifecta state, the estimated share of the total state population that's white and likely affected by the Medicaid rule, plus a running national tally.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this was, that's riveting. This is some riveting shit right here. I mean, I myself, I believe people at the end of the day are all the same. That's what I believe personally. Sure, we have different ethnicities, we have different backgrounds, and we use this black and white thing as a qualifier. It doesn't always apply. It's the context that that you have to think about when it's being used. You see what I mean? When we're talking about racism, okay, not races of people, because I myself don't believe in that shit, because it doesn't exist, right? But racism does exist, and the concept of race exists. And if you ask MAGA voters, they would absolutely agree, which is why they often use the term white. I mean, these are Americans that have agreed to these terms. Americans have agreed to these terms themselves, right? So this is part of the electorate, also the language we use. But a lot of Americans don't want, they have, if you go into it and ask them, maybe they see differences among white Americans. Maybe some say, hey man, don't call me white American because I'm Italian American or I'm Irish American. Some of them look at ethnicity in that way, and you can do both if you want. You could do both, or you could do one, or you could do the other. It's up to you. It's your personal choice how you fill out census reports. Right? Everybody has that personal choice, that right to identify themselves before the public. Right. But again, if you want to talk about racism and you want to talk about reverse racism, right, which is what you hear MAGA people often cite, reverse racism. Well, then let's talk about racism. Let's talk about it. Who has devastated white America? Who's devastated white America more? Who's in a position to even be devastated? Who would that be? It would, of course, be the poor, who are most susceptible to attacks, to being harmed in the first place, to being devastated. It would be the poor among us. Poor whites, poor blacks, poor Asians, poor Hispanics, poor whatever, Africans, poor whoever, but just poor. And in this particular case, we have seen that MAGA has been more extreme towards poor white people than any other government the United States of America has ever known. Just flat out. Flat out. So I just want you to hear me. Poor white folk out there, I don't hate your ass. Okay? I don't have a problem with you. I have a problem with your fucking representatives who are just psychotic, who hate all poor people, not just you. And I don't like how they manipulate you. I don't like how they manipulate you towards other people who are in the same situation as you. I don't like that. I believe poor white people should get free higher education, free access to technical schools, and universal health care. That's what I believe. And I believe everybody else that's American should too. I believe that's fair in the richest country on earth, where 70%, 70 plus maybe percent of the federal budget is paid for by income tax. And rich motherfuckers, unless you have a job working for somebody else, you pay federal income tax. That's not the wealthiest among us. That's just everyday people. That's everyday people. You see, so, yeah, I hope we really get that together. Here's a picture of them. A lot of them are right up here. You could see, you know what I'm saying? They talk a really good game. But they're not the only ones. I mean, here at the where's MAGA Mike at? We don't even have MAGA Mike's ass up here. So let's go to MAGA Mike, because a lot of these people are flunkies. They're already on their way out anyway. Some of them are there though and still dangerous, but very dangerous, by the way. But in any case, we could see that the very same people who literally hate poor white people, poor white Americans, who pass legislation that harms poor white people than any other administration in the history of the country. You could also see the very same people at the same time fucking are hiding the biggest pedophiles on goddamn earth. They're hiding the biggest goddamn pedophile ring on the biggest pedophile ring ever known to the United States of America. They're doing it, and they're just sitting there proud of it. Look at this. MAGA Mike Johnson been disappeared. Have you noticed Trump was gone? MAGA Mike was gone. Now they're all back. Now they all back to say something. And this is what they have to say to you.
Massey and Ro Khanna, I hope I'm using the right word, will ripen soon.
Well, no, I guess it would if they get the right signature.
If they get the signature,
but it's now a moot point. It's not even necessary. I mean,
you don't think it's going to happen?
There may be a floor vote of one measure or another. We have our own resolutions to do all this, but I don't.
MAGA Mike has come back acting like he's the champion of releasing the Epstein files. Same bullshit he does to poor white people. They're the champion of saving poor white people. We're going to clean this country up. We're going to disinfect this country from the immigrants and everybody else and all the people leeching off the federal government, which, by the way, is not his fucking money because he gets paid by the taxpayers. He's got the best health insurance by the taxpayers. And he also has the worst motherfucking state when it comes to violence. Of course, he won't be asking Trump to send the goddamn, National Guard there or Marines. He's not asking for that. No, he's asking for poor white people to give up SNAP. And he's going to gaslight you and explain why that is, while he gaslights you and explain how he's not hiding the Epstein files. No. It's him among all people that wants the release of them. Well, you tell me, does he look like it?
It's sort of not necessary at the point because the administration is already doing this. They're turning it over.
So I don't think that Congressman Khanna and Massey think that yet, at least from what I've heard. And I don't know that the 218 people that they think they have as signatories of that think that either. If they do get the signatures, will you allow that to come to a vote on the floor?
We might not even wait for that. We have our own resolutions to affect this same thing. But the process is playing out as it should. And very soon, the American people will have that information, and they should have had it all along. That's my view.
You can't.
They should have had it on day one. That was what was promised by these people. And MAGA Mike backed it up 100%. Anything that Trump says, day one. That was MAGA Mike. That's what he supported. And 7 months down the line, after telling Congress, hey, y'all, fuck this. We're not going to vote on these Epstein files. We're going to take a recess for a month. We're going to take vacation. Now he's out of his recess. Even though Congress isn't out of recess, he was compelled to come out and explain again why they simply won't release them. Now, listen, anything new?
Yeah.
Anything new from this? No, he's just reciting the same thing he recited 3 weeks ago. 2 months ago, the same thing.
Guarantee there'll be a vote on the discharge petition.
There probably will be a vote of some sense, but we've got to get everybody collected.
Okay. There probably will be. Those girls weren't probably raped. They weren't probably raped. Those files weren't probably covered up, those Epstein files. They're not probably being kept held up. They are being, and those girls were were exploited. They were trafficked. And this guy's like, we probably going to have a vote. Probably. This is what you voted for.
Again.
This is your House Republican House leader on full display. The snakery.
100% consistent about this forever.
What about a vote on the floor?
If it's necessary, we will. I think what's happening.
If it's necessary, huh? If it's necessary. So, in other words, just waiting. We're just waiting for Trump to do something. Whatever Trump does, that's what we're okay with. So they're going to wait for Trump before they have a vote. Well, Trump ain't doing it. Why don't you just have a vote and wait and see what Trump says then about it? I mean, you see what I mean? This is the do nothing. The one thing they have done is effectively harmed poor white Americans more than any other administration that's ever existed in the United States history. They've effectively done that, and they've conned them into going along with it. But as far as these Epstein files, they ain't done shit. Listen,
What's
keep
happened
listening.
over August, over the last few weeks, has probably mooted the necessity of legislation, because right now the administration is in full compliance with congressional subpoenas. They've submitted over 34,000 Epstein documents to Congress just in the last couple of weeks. And our oversight committee is going through the deliberative process. We are for maximum transparency. We always have been, but we also have to be careful to protect the innocent victims. And it takes time to do that, to redact the necessary.
The innocent victims are coming out next week. Okay, these people are scared shitless just because folks aren't standing down and doing nothing like they are. Look at this. He's just a weasel. I mean, this dude doesn't care.
Information. You don't want, for example, minors who are subjected to these unspeakable Epstein evils to go through another.
You don't want minors, so that's why they're not going to release it. Okay, they don't want minors, so they got to spend all the time to redact the minors and the people that were minors 20 years ago. 20 years ago, they were minors. They're not minors today, by the way. But here's the thing. You could protect all the minors you want. What is stopping you from prosecuting the persecutors, you MFer? You damn pedophile protector? Nobody's stopping you from prosecuting the actual people that did this stuff. You see how much of a snake this dude is? This is cold-blooded gaslighting to poor white Americans. This is grade A military style gaslighting. Straight up from the pulpit of the congressional leader right now. That's what he's doing. Nobody's stopping them from prosecuting anybody in those files. The only one that is stopping them is them themselves. And he's talking about, oh, no, nobody stopped. We don't want to listen to this.
Another round of unspeakable Epstein evils to go through another, and it takes time to do that, to redact the necessary information. You don't want, for example, minors who are subjected to these unspeakable Epstein evils to go through another round of harm. And so that's the protective sort of lens that's being used for this. But everything, we need to be out. We trust the American.
So protecting the minors is why you're not going to prosecute the people who did it. That's what it is. There's 1,000 minors, people that were minors back then, 1,000. How many Johns were there? How many people actually raped them? How many people participated in it and could be having espionage or blackmail happening as a result of it? How many of them were aristocrats? How many of them are in the courts or judges? How many of them are in Congress? How many of them are in the Senate? How many of them have been presidents? How many? How many of them are wealthy elites? How many of them? But this guy, he obviously is not concerned about prosecuting the rapist. He is not. He hasn't mentioned prosecuting rapists one single time. That's not at all what he's interested in. Why is that? Why do you think it is? I'm going to tell you flat out. If you ask me, he talks like a damn pedophile. If you ask me, he talks like someone who actually molests. Like, seriously.
The American people to make their own decisions, and they will soon have all of that.
So you wouldn't oppose a vote on the floor?
No, we'll move a vote if necessary. But I mean, right now that process is actually underway, and we're grateful to see it. I mean, I have been from the very beginning saying we want all of it.
He's grateful to see it. Does he sound like he's grateful to see it? Oh, you're grateful to see it? Grade A gaslighting. Fool, you are not grateful. You are scared shitless about this.
All of it out so long.
All night, and we now have a fact that only 3% of the documents were given to us.
Right, check 1, 2. Okay, let me see something. I just want to make sure the audio. Can y'all hear this? All right. Yeah, we're just having a little glitches.
Already in the public domain. And less than 1%.
Less than 1%. While MAGA Mike Johnson is talking all of this shit about, yeah, we could have a vote on this, or we could do this or that. Or wait a second. While MAGA Mike Johnson is talking about that, the facts are only 1% of the Epstein files have been released. Even with redactions, that's only 1%. 1%. That's it. The other 99% has been held up by who? Who were the elected officials that we talked about? Who were the people that were that had Republican unanimous appointments? that are in these positions, who are those people? Who are those people? You see, and so far, 1% is what you'll get. That's what you're getting right now. Lip service and 1%. You're getting more lip service from the people who gutted poor white America. You're getting more lip service from them than you are anything else about the Epstein files, period. Anything, just anything else. These people basically want you dead.
Than 1 gigabit. So they've released less than 1%. And of the less than 1% they've released, 97% is still in the public record. Bottom line, they're still stonewalling.
Just the book. Let's get the financial records of the estate. Follow the money, as they say up here. We should look at the plea
because
bargain.
they won't release the damn files. Folks have had to go and ask the family, the estate, can you release what you have? Even though the FBI has it. Even though the DOJ already has it. You know, but they won't release. You know, this is just ridiculous. I really, I myself, I'm sorry. I'm a 55-year-old man, grown man. I've traveled to a lot of places, born and raised in the United States of America. Both sides of my family come from the colonial period of America. Okay, I don't live in the U.S. right now. I have universal health care. I have universal education. My kids get paid to go to school. I'm sorry. If you're a grown-ass adult and you can't see that these people straight up robbing you and don't give a damn about your life, if you don't see that, you are a goddamn fool, and it is your fault only, period.
Bargain, open that up, see what was the deal that was cut. I think there's a lot more than just that letter, but that letter is also sort of representative of something that's embarrassing but not illegal. That, you know, another reason why these files may be sealed and stay sealed. But we're going to force a vote on this when we get back from the August recess. Ro Khanna and I are using a procedure in the House called a discharge petition, whereby if we get 218 votes, and we're well on our way to that, 218 signatures.
Yeah.
This upcoming week, we have actually many of the victims of Jeffrey Epstein coming to Capitol Hill. We're meeting with them. They're talking to lawmakers. We're going to highlight their stories. We've got to center these victims. And I'll just say one other piece of news that actually just developed in the last couple hours is we finally got word from the Epstein estate. They're going to be providing the actual Epstein book, that famous book where that note that Donald Trump drew and doodled to Jeffrey Epstein, his so-called best friend of 10 to 15 years. The Epstein estate is actually going to now get us that book and a bunch of other documents that they have that's actually not been reported yet, reporting it here for the first time. We're going to get those documents as we understand it now on September the 8th. And so that will continue our investigation. And again, we ask the question, where are the rest of the documents? What is Pam Bondi hiding? What is Donald Trump hiding?
Maybe crucial, maybe the singular most crucial person in passing, which is what the president was calling the big, beautiful bill. But he said this week, I'm not going to use that term, great, big, beautiful bill. That was good for getting it approved. It's not good for explaining it to people. I guess my question is, why is it hard to explain to people? Our Harry Etten, who's a numbers guy, great.
So you see, Mike Johnson talking about he's the one holding up anything from Congress, right? He's holding up anything, pretty much anything, that can happen. All the Epstein files could have been demanded by Congress long ago. Instead, they had to do it in another way, using another mechanism in Congress, just to be able to get it done, because the majority didn't want it. Republicans didn't want it. That's who Mike Johnson is. He's the leader of the majority party in Congress, the Republican Party. Now, he also is now going to talk about other shit. This guy was the leader, the one who sold to the American people and you MAGA folks the big, ugly bill where white genocide is happening under it. Basically, essentially, yes, it's happening, right? Now, you may not consider poor white people to be valuable and worthy of more. Some of you don't, obviously, right? But I think they're still human. I think they're still American citizens. I still think they're due the common dignity that any American citizen should have. And that shouldn't be to live a life and squander in poverty while you're being blamed by some Republican legislator that actually gets paid from your tax dollars and has better health care than you, that won't even fucking release the Epstein files. But this is who Mike Johnson is.
Great numbers guy. I'm sure you've seen him. He put together some numbers and said it's among the most unpopular laws passed since 1990, less so than the Affordable Care Act, the bank bailout, and the Republican tax bill of 2017. Why so hard?
I'm not surprised by these numbers at all, because there's been an all-out assault and effort by Democrats and the mainstream media to
that term, great big beautiful bill, that was good for getting it approved. It's not good for explaining it to people. I guess my question is, why is it hard to explain to people? Our Harry Etten, who's a numbers guy, great numbers guy, I'm sure you've seen him, he put together some numbers.
Yeah, why is it hard to explain to people? That's a good question. Mike, why is it hard to explain to people why you can't just release the goddamn Epstein files? Mike, why is it hard to explain to people that this thing you asked poor white people, your base, to vote for is actually a recipe for poor white genocide? Not white genocide, but poor white genocide. Why? Which is a key base for him. Which is a key base. Look at his answer. This is the same goddamn dude.
Numbers and said it's among the most unpopular laws passed since 1990, less so than the Affordable Care Act, the bank bailout, and the Republican tax bill of 2017. Why so hard?
I'm not surprised by these numbers at all, because there's been an all-out assault and effort by Democrats and the mainstream media to, frankly, misinform people about what's in the bill. When they take the same polls of the...
Now listen carefully, you maggots. Listen carefully to what your congressional leader, the maggot one, is about to tell you. He is about to tell you, wait another year and see if you still feel the same way. This dude got he doesn't care. He will tell you any goddamn thing. If you are willing to wait a fucking year, you are dumb. Oh my God. So look, you waited 6 months and now you're going to wait a year. Okay.
Individual provisions of that giant piece of legislation, they're wildly popular. So what happened over the August district work period is Republicans fanned out, Senate and House Republicans across the country to all their districts to go and explain exactly the extraordinary things that are in this bill. It's geared and written for lower and middle class earners. They're going to feel the effects of that. We restored American energy dominance, peace through strength, largest tax cuts in...
It's geared for American low income workers?
Maybe the singular most crucial person in passing, which is what the president was. I'm not. I guess my question is, why is it hard to explain to people? Our Harry Etten, who's a numbers guy, great numbers guy, I'm sure you've seen him, he put together some numbers and said it's among the most unpopular laws passed since 1990, less so than the Affordable Care Act, the bank bailout, and the Republican tax bill of 2017. Why so hard?
I'm not surprised by these numbers at all, because there's been an all-out assault and effort by Democrats and the mainstream media to, frankly, misinform people about what's in the bill. When they take the same polls of the individual provisions of that giant piece of legislation, they're wildly popular. So what happened over the August district work period is Republicans fanned out, Senate and House Republicans across the country to all their districts to go and explain exactly the extraordinary things that are in this bill. It's geared and written for lower and middle class earners. They're going to feel the effects of that. We restored American energy dominance.
There he is. Look, there he is. There he is. He's explaining to you that the Medicare cuts, no problem. You're going to love it. They're wildly popular back home. Hey, if you're a Republican and you're listening to me, right? If you're a MAGA supporter, a Trump supporter, and you think these cuts to your Medicare, to your SNAP benefits, right? If you think they're wildly popular in your state, put a 1 in the chat. I'm just curious to see if there's anybody that goddamn dumb. You know, to be honest with you, I really want to see this, because what is being reported on news, and for some reason, MAGA people don't seem to be able to report any differently in the news. Mike Johnson can't bring a camera of people saying, yay, Mike is here. This bill is wildly popular. The only thing you seem to see in the news is red state people up in arms cursing out their representatives on live TV. And this dude got the nerve to come on TV and be like, it's wildly popular. It's wildly popular. You don't have to write, Zeke. You don't have to write more than once, okay? Just relax. Hold on. I'm sorry. Yo, I appreciate everybody's comment, but, you know, come on now. Have respect for everyone else, too. You see? Have respect for everybody else. You're not the only person in the chat, Zeke. Now, but here's the thing. It's like Zeke says yes, he loves it. He thinks it's great. Okay, he thinks it's great 100 times, as a matter of fact. But I myself, I haven't seen Mike Johnson produce any. He hasn't gone to his home state and produced one video, not even in his social media. These Republicans, you don't find it in their social media at all. They could produce this stuff themselves if they wanted to. It simply doesn't exist. It doesn't exist, y'all. And while it doesn't exist, this man is willing to go. This is who you have. He's willing to go in public on national TV to the world and literally stone face lie in your face. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a man who doesn't give a damn about your life. That is what it is. He doesn't give a damn about your life. Yeah, I deleted Zeke's comment because he put like 20 times one. And so, yes, I did. And I put him in timeout. So please don't do that in this chat. Have respect for other people. You're not the only person in the chat. Everyone can see you. You just have to respond once. It's good enough. You don't have to write. You don't have to spam the chat. OK, but in any case, Mike Johnson will go right out there and lie to people's face stone cold. I mean, it's a clear indication that he just simply does not care about life. It doesn't have anything to do with white, black, green, Hispanic, whatever. He doesn't care about life. You have to understand that. He simply doesn't care. And he will just lie again. He won't show you anything to back it up in his social media. Social media, by the way, is for that. If you have TikTok, if you have Facebook, if you have Instagram, as a representative, you can go to one of these town hall meetings in your own state and you could actually show the people clapping for you saying, yeah, we wild about this, Mike. Yeah, we love it. But they don't, because it doesn't exist. See, if it did exist, it would be out there. It's just not easy to cover up anymore because everybody has social media. Everybody has a damn phone camera. You see what I mean? Technology allows people to do this and get their message out if they want to. But the only place you really find this message is on legacy TV, where these representatives, when they want to show up one day and they're tired of hiding, go out and just lie to people. Here's some more lies. Watch.
If he is to invest in crime suppression, I hope the President of the United States would look at the facts. Just consider Speaker Johnson's state and district.
Now he's talking about Speaker Johnson. He said this is Gavin Newsom out of California, the governor of California. He said if the president really does want to do this, he would hope that he knows these statistics. Look, that he knows this. He's hoping that, not saying that the president will give a damn or even listen to him, but he is still hoping. Listen.
Invest in crime suppression. I hope the President of the United States would look at the facts. Just consider Speaker Johnson's state. And
now, Speaker Johnson is who we just saw flat-faced go out there and lie to the American people about health care, lie to them about all kinds of shit, just across the board, lie to them about the Epstein files, lie to them about everything. Now they're talking about sending National Guard. And he pointed out Speaker Johnson's state, that very same man who flat-faced lied to you, has the worst state of violence in his state, is the worst than anywhere else in the country. The same dude.
Look at the murder rate. That's nearly 4 times higher than California's in Louisiana.
Have at it.
Again, Gavin Newsom will do anything for attention. He can name drop me all he wants. He needs to go and govern his state and not be engaging in all of this. Look, we have crime in cities all across America, and we're against that everywhere, and we need to bring policies to bear. My hometown of Shreveport has done a great job of reducing crime gradually, but we've got to address it everywhere that it rears its ugly head. And I think every major city in the country, the residents of those cities, are open to that and anxious to have it. And we're the policy, we're the party that's going to bring that forward. Sometimes local governance does not do the job, and the oversight in D.C. is long overdue.
I was going to ask when you might be calling for the National Guard in Shreveport, which is, you have part of your district is Shreveport. The FBI statistics, actually violent crime per 100,000 residents higher in Shreveport last year than Washington.
God damn! God damn! Look at this. Worse than where the damn National Guard gets sent. This is the guy you were listening to. He comes from the state with the worst problem with violent crime. And you're relying, look, no one needs to worry about how this is going to turn out, because it's going to turn out the same way everything turns out under Mike Johnson's leadership. It's going to go bad. It's going to continue. No wonder the Epstein files ain't released. No wonder your SNAP benefits get cut. No wonder there will be more poverty in his state. No fucking wonder. And I'm talking about poor white poverty. No wonder. No wonder. Like I told you before, this man cares not about life. And this is the data. These are the data points. He doesn't care. And if you listen to how he sounds when he talks about it, he talks like he doesn't care. He's just sitting up there. He's not in any hurry to do a damn thing. He's just nonchalantly telling you, hey, man, we ain't going to do shit about that. We're not concerned about my state. We don't care about the death in my state. You guys can deal with it. He's like, it's almost like you guys in red state, you eat starvation and violence for breakfast every day. It just doesn't really bother you.
Job, and the oversight in D.C. is long overdue.
I was going to ask when you might be calling for the National Guard in Shreveport, which is, you have part of your district is Shreveport. The FBI statistics, actually violent crime per 100,000 residents higher in Shreveport last year than Washington, D.C.
There's a lot of good work that's been done. There's a lot of reasons for that. But we have a Democrat DA there who has not been prosecuting crime as some other more aggressive DAs have around the country. Soros funded that individual to be elected. But
got to pull the magic wand. Soros did that. Well, who funded you, dumbass? Who funded your goddamn state? Who funded you? Who funded you to do all the shit you're doing? Who funded you? Who's the boogeyman behind that? Who was that? Was it Peter Thiel? Was it Elon Musk? Was it them? Do they? Okay, maybe. Who knows? He's not concerned about that, though. See, when it's his state and it affects his people, he's literally not even concerned. It doesn't matter what the issue is. You can't even get this effort to bring any goddamn industry or jobs to his state. Listen to this dude.
I'll say
he's
that,
happy with it.
It's an urban area that has a lot of problems that are happening around the country, and we have to address it.
So would the Guard help? If the Guard can help in D.C., the president has said.
Look, will free education help? Will free higher learning help? Will free technical schools help in that problem? Will it help reduce crime? Will more gun proliferation help reduce crime? Will cutting people's SNAP benefits reduce crime? Will cutting their Medicare reduce crime? Will it do that? I don't know. Those are things worth thinking about. Or that's what he did. He cut all those things. Will that help? He cut those things. It's not going to help to cut those things. You're just going to get more fucking violent crime. Okay? This is what you get from American leadership right now. This is what you get. You get a bunch of phony asses that do not care about the United States of America, do not care about even their own state members, the people that elected them. They don't care. They do not care. If you are used to being treated this way as a citizen of the United States of America, man, you may as well go live in some other fucking third world country somewhere, like straight up. And I'm not, that's no pun to third world countries, but these people don't give a fuck. I mean, at least the third world countries have an excuse. They don't have the richest economy on earth. They're not the richest country on earth. At least they have a fucking excuse. Where's the excuse here? Where's the excuse? I'm about to go look up what the fucking illiteracy rate is in his state.
He said he wants to send the Guard to Chicago and other places. Why not Shreveport?
I don't know. That's not my call.
Would you
it may
ask
be
him for that?
necessary.
He doesn't know. He's not running for president. Not his call. He's just the leader of the majority party of Congress. You know, he's the sycophant. His job is to say whatever Trump says is right. He doesn't know. You see this? So why the hell do they even have him on TV? He's just a talking head. He's just a talking head. This guy, he has zero responsibility for nothing, takes no initiative for anything, has no answers for his own state or the country. But yeah, he got elected. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, I don't know. Let's take one city at a time and see. We have to address the crime problem in any city where it is it's a problem like that. And in large cities like in Chicago, as you mentioned, that would be a big help there. I was there just 2 days ago, and it's a serious, serious problem. They don't even report murders on the evening news in Chicago anymore because it's so common. And Democrat-run cities typically...
When was the last time you heard about somebody in his state dying? When was the last time you heard about anybody in his state dying? What is he talking about? They don't even report it in Chicago. I never heard about his state. His state is the worst. I never heard about one person getting killed from violent crime in his state. I've heard about more from D.C., Chicago, New York, everywhere, California. What about it? What about his responsibility to care and show people the violent crime in his own state? Why is it someone else pointing it out to him? Why isn't he pointing it out to everyone else?
Typically have that problem because they have not been tough on crime. President Trump is one who believes in that, and we do as well. And we've got to take every measure to make sure we're keeping America.
Okay.
Your thinking this morning?
Well, it's incredible to me that Jen Psaki and Gavin Newsom and others would attack religion, diminish the faith of millions of Americans at a time of such great tragedy. There are a lot of common sense solutions.
Okay, listen, this attacking religion is very simple. In the United States of America, you have separation from church and state. Everybody has the right to their own religion, whatever they choose. It's very simple. But religion is not science. Religion is not science. You don't go to church to learn about quantum physics. You don't go to church to learn how to be a doctor, to actually provide medical assistance to other people. Those aren't the institutions you go to. You don't, just like you don't go to the mosque to learn it. You don't go to the synagogue to learn it. You don't. It doesn't matter what culture, what religion that culture may have or anything like that. Those are not the institutions that people pay tax dollars into for you to go. They're separate. You see what I mean? And this guy likes to throw religion out there like somebody cares about your goddamn religion. I don't care about your religion. Why would a taxpayer care about your goddamn religion when I care about education, when I care about healthcare, when I care about housing, fair housing, when I care about union jobs? When I care about childcare? Why the hell would I care about your religion? What the fuck? Religion ain't special. People have had religions. People have pulled religions out of their ass since the Stone Ages. It's not special. It doesn't matter who you're talking about. What is different? What's so special about anyone? You have a God figure. Somebody was born. They're supposed to take care of everybody. What the fuck? That's not an original story. There's nothing original about it. If you erase all Abrahamic religion, if you just erase it all, they will find a new one. Somebody will pull a stone out of their ass and say, this is the greatest stone on earth. This stone came to save everybody. Come on. That's what happens. That's what people do. You know, and this dude tries to divert to religion because they use, sadly enough, they use the Christian religion, which it should not be, it shouldn't be used for, but they use it to commit evil. That's what they do. They give Christianity a bad name. That's what they do. And there's nothing more pathetic than a person who uses religion to commit evil acts. There's nothing more evil than and pathetic than a person who uses religion to justify robbing the poor, just to give to the rich. There's nothing more worse than that. It doesn't matter what religion it is that you use to do that. There's nothing more worse than to use the concept of God to rob the poor. And that is what these people do every goddamn day of the week. There's nothing worse than to use the concept of God to justify pedophilia. And that's what these people do every fucking day of the week. There's nothing more worse than to use the concept of God to justify gluttony and corruption to the highest degree. And that is what these people do.
There's things that can be done to protect children at schools and in churches that do not involve taking away the constitutional.
It's gaslighting. It's just gaslighting. Look, that don't involve taking away their constitutional right. But you will take away people's right in D.C. to the Fourth Amendment, right? The right against illegal search and seizure. That's a constitutional right. Listen to this fool. You see, it's just gaslighting.
At schools and in churches that do not involve taking away the constitutional rights of law-abiding American citizens. This is not a time to politicize these issues. We mourn for the families, the community that's affected there.
It's not a time to politicize those issues, right? So you don't politicize the people's rights, you know, their constitutional rights, but they politicize it. Why else are you picking out Democrat states to send the National Guard to when Republican states have more or just as much crime? When are you going to send the National Guard to some Republican state that has crime? They've been politicizing SNAP the whole time. That's how they convince poor white people to not fucking want SNAP, to not vote for SNAP. They've been politicizing Medicare the whole time. That's how they can convince poor white people to not even understand what Medicare is. It's ridiculous. It's them politicizing it all. It's them, and it's your federal tax dollars. You know, all you're going to get from them is politicizing everything. You're not going to get nothing from them. These are the do-nothing party. The Republicans are the do-nothing party. The only thing they're good at doing is giving the wealthy tax breaks and protecting pedophiles. That's all they're good at doing.
I don't know if you saw, I'm sure you guys saw the father's remarks yesterday for that little boy who was lost, Fletcher Merkel. Just, it's such a heart-wrenching thing for all of us. And at the end of the day...
Yo, guess who the number one state is for rape and pedophilia? I believe this goddamn, I believe it's, what is it, Alaska. And it's funny that Trump went out there to meet Putin there, you know, but seriously, I'm serious. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I want to know. Tell me, what is the number one state for rape and pedophile? And then everyone else can go and Google it right after you tell us. Just let me know who it is.
The problem is not guns, okay, Jen Psaki? The problem is the human heart. It's mental health. There are things that we can do, solutions that we can come together to handle, but...
Yeah, so there you have it. The problem is not guns, according to MAGA Mike. But I guarantee you one thing. As soon as Democrat states promote... Now, for me, I live in a place where people don't even need guns. Denmark, nobody needs a goddamn gun. Everybody has health care. Everybody has access to education to improve themselves when they want to. Okay? Everybody has that right. Okay? If you endeavor and have the self-initiative to say, you know what? I want to learn how to do something. Bingo, boom, you sign up. You can get certified. You can get a degree. You can get whatever you need. You know, whatever technical school or university or other educational place you need to go. You can get it. It's free. You might, and you're likely going to get paid to do it. Right now, if you get sick, you go to the hospital. Everybody has universal health care. If the public hospital can't fix your issue within a certain amount of time, the same tax dollars pay for you in the private hospital. Very simple. It's very simple. Everybody has access to it, right? So nobody needs a fucking gun here. OK, in America, the place where you don't have the right to a fair wage, where you don't have a right to health care, where you don't have a right to education. Yeah, you might need a goddamn gun. The way they run this stuff, the place where you do give the tax breaks to the rich only, and you do take away SNAP benefits and Medicare from the poor. Yeah, you might goddamn need a gun. I mean, that sounds pretty rational. And where you do have people that race bait, just like this MAGA Mike Johnson all the time, that gaslight using the concept of racism that get you to vote for one thing, say they're going out here to go and to get immigrants, and it's right in this. They even could gut poor white, the people who vote for them, they gut their programs. Okay. Yeah, you might need a goddamn gun. When Democrat states start promoting, because they don't promote gun. They don't promote gun. A lot of Democrats have guns now and have gun licenses. They're not opposed to it, but they don't promote it as a solution for everything. They don't promote it as a political solution. But I'm going to tell you, the moment Democrats start promoting guns as a political solution to these red states, I guarantee you MAGA Mike Johnson, he won't want guns. He will be like, no guns. You got to restrict guns. We don't want guns anymore. Don't want any more guns. That's exactly how it's going to be, because when the rabbit got the gun, it's another story for these people. When the rabbit has the gun, and me, myself, I'm sick and tired of feeling like good people that want to live and let live, good people that believe everybody has the freedom, the right to choose over their own body because slavery was fucking abolished a century ago. I'm tired of good people being made to feel like they have to look over their shoulder because some goddamn racist bigot from another state is going to come and shoot them or kill them. I'm sick and tired of that shit. That's not going to ride, and a lot of these Republican representatives, they have stoked anger for so long. They have stoked look at the Jan 6 insurrection. This dude gave a pardon to these violent people. He gave a pardon to a violent mob that threatened to kill government servants. The vice president, the leader of the Democratic caucus, congressional members, literally threatened to kill and hang on sight. They promote violence. In any case, I'm out, y'all. Now, listen, I personally hope for the best. But for the people that my listeners, the majority of them are very intelligent people that research facts themselves. They don't rely on me. They just come here because this is a place where we can communicate some of these facts, right, for like-minded people. Now, I appreciate y'all a lot. I appreciate you guys because we're all worried about our country, but, life is going to have to move on. I wish for the best, but I think we have every right to stand up and fight for our way of life in the United States of America. And we know that other countries have done some things a little bit better. And we know that violence and crime comes hand in hand with lack of opportunity. We know that for a fact. We could choose to spend more money on jails, or we could choose to spend more money on education. It's up to you. We could choose to spend more money on guns, or we could choose to spend more money on education and access to people having access to a decent wage, living wage. Okay, we can choose. It's one or the other, but folks are going to have to choose. And since we live in a nation where other people that don't seem to be clear about their values, we live in a country where there's some Americans that don't put access to education first, that don't put access to health care first, that don't even want women to be able to control their own damn body, so they don't die just trying to give birth, I'm sorry, they don't even want women to have equal rights. I mean, this is what we're looking at. Since we're looking at a place with a party that wants women in the goddamn kitchen only, I think people need to go out and register and respect their right to also possess arms, And I just think that that's the quickest way to letting these people know that those days are over. Those days of being picked on and being the victims of these, these shootings and all of this stuff. I mean, I'm not saying possessing guns is the only thing that needs to happen. There needs to be a comprehensive approach. But, look, they're going to fan the flames. They keep fanning the flames of violence. These Republicans keep fanning the flames of violence where there is no need to do it. There's just simply no need to do it in the wealthiest country on earth. The division, the levels of division and hatred that has been stoked from the Republican Party, they are holding the country down. We need to get this over with. The people that had this old concept of supporting Republicans, yo, you guys need to learn how to do something else. You know, it's not working. It's not helping the country. It's actually hurting the country, you know, more than anything else, more than any foreign government could ever do, let alone, oh, thanks, Bits. I appreciate that. Let alone these damn Republicans walked in Putin. They walked in. They're protecting people that committed espionage on American soil. They are promoting authoritarianism. I mean, these people have gone too far. So Republicans, the people that you voted for this, you need to straighten your shit out. You need to straighten your shit out because these guys don't care about you. You are literally voting for people that hate you. You voted for Mike Johnson. He hates your broke ass. Okay, you voted for Trump. He hates poor people like you. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. He fucking hates you. Okay, you allowed Elon Musk, you congressional members that didn't do a damn thing about Elon Musk bum rushing the Treasury. Man, you got to get rid of all of them. And these Supreme Court justices that actually allowed Trump to do all of this stuff, because it is illegal. You know, he shouldn't have even been allowed to be president a second time after all that he did. But they allowed it. They found some wiggle room, a way to allow him to run. They got to go. So this next election, and I applaud the Republicans that are speaking their minds in these town hall meetings. Thank you so much. Thank you to the people, the Republicans that are not so egofied that they could admit they made a mistake. Because you are essential in saving our goddamn country. I appreciate you so much. I'll be back, y'all. I appreciate everybody for coming out. You know, do yourself a favor and subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because it will help you get the messages when I go live. The more people subscribe, the more people will come in and have more information to hear and also offer, right? I want to big up the people that are out on the streets doing the activism right now. Thank you so much. I've been watching so much of it from across the country, from California to DC to New York to where is it? Wait a second. There's a lot of states that I haven't mentioned, and what is it? Portland, right? Even in Portland, people. There's a lot of places in the country that we don't tend to mention because maybe the legacy media doesn't cover it. But everybody who is standing up for our goddamn human and civil rights, thank you, because you're actually saving the country. There's ways to deal with immigration reform comprehensively without trying to cause people trauma, without trying to damage the country. You know, how we look to the world, without bringing out the worst in people. There's caring ways to do immigration reform. That can be done if you have elected officials that care about people's lives. Right now, you got elected officials that don't care if people are snatching babies out of people's arms and throwing their ass in the trash can. I mean, they just don't care right now. So thank you to the activists that are out there in the street. And thank you for the lawyers that are out there. They're fighting this stuff in the courts. You know, there's a lot that is being done that I think we underestimate as Americans. But if we don't learn to value these things, if we don't learn to value fighting in the courts, if we don't learn to value our vote, the power of our vote, and if we don't learn to understand that it is us, the taxpayers, that pays for this. It is our money coming from our payroll checks. 70% is coming from each hour we work a day. If we don't learn to respect that and value ourselves for who we really are, this shit isn't going to end. So the voters that understand that, I appreciate you too. I'll be back later on today, y'all. I appreciate everybody. Y'all be good, all right? One. Release the Epstein files. Yo, become a member too if you want. Peace, y'all. I appreciate it. I wish everybody a good day, a positive day. Thank you.
They want more. Crime babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued when the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every clue. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep, leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a debt old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and I feel we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die. You voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers. Cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in the way to settle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TV's whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they